Why? I thought I'd do this again because I've got like there's a lot of things going on in life right now, and I'm feeling pretty stressed. There's also a lot of bad things happening around the world, and to be honest, change needs to happen just in general. Like, people need to start going vegan and start fighting against AI, because these are the two biggest things that are gonna fuck us over. Yeah. That's just what I react to the most. I guess, is it cancerous or carcinogenous? I don't know, same thing. The most cancerous place on the internet, probably. This is still here for some reason, even though it's been debunked, and it's been proven that some of the studies aren't read, and if I recall, there are studies that don't even have the same conclusion. And yeah. I don't get what those memes about. Like, people don't go vegan to brag about status, that they are vegan. They go vegan for different reasons, like health, environment, animals, obviously. That should be the primary one. Literally nobody cares that someone's vegan. I don't get what the point of this is, because it's just saying the obvious. But then you read the title there. Why do they feel the need to remind people? Well, they're not. It's often in a context, like, for example, if you're eating animal products, they'll say like they're vegan, because obviously it's some sort of, I guess, offensive thing. It can be to some. I generally don't care, because I've just never been that into animals, I guess. I've always found them sort of scary, but also not that interesting. I'm sure they do fascinating things, but I don't really get bothered by seeing animal products. It's more the fact that people support the animal products that gets to me. Best way to counteract a vegan activist. I tried to have a civil argument on Toxic with this vegan activist. They flooded me with a bunch of links with high-level English, and I was left no other way to counter argument. I was put down to defeat in the civil argument, along with the other Toxic followers. What is the best strategy to give a counter argument? The bin post is too big and I can't send anything in it. It's sort of sad, but funny in a way. Because I think, like, this person could possibly be disabled. I can't really say. Like, it just seems like maybe they have a severe version of autism, maybe, where information overloads are obviously much worse than what I have and what other autists have. But the problem is that you're debating a complex topic, so you don't really have a place to talk about it. You can try and get a simple understanding of it through unbiased sources, articles and videos. You don't need tons of information to refute some of the things that they say. So, like, my advice to the user is to do your best to read up on the demonstrable evidence that currently exists, so you can counteract a vegan activist. Like, this is unbiased, by the way. I'm not saying the vegan activist is wrong, or that you're right or wrong. You need to put the effort in to actually counteract, counter-argument, and really posting something that came from someone else is not a good way to do it, because they can end up questioning you on it. For example, if you post one of those study links, they'll ask you why you think that the study proves this, and you can't explain it. You're pretty much fucked. Imagine abandoning your ancestral diet, what allowed us to evolve and survive, for a fad diet that got popular only 12 years ago. What? It wasn't popular 12 years ago. At least not what I recall. It was actually existent in the 90s. As early as World War II, I think. We're not abandoning an ancestral diet. And as far as we know, there isn't much proof to say that it allowed us to evolve and survive, but then again, your own point refutes your own point. Because we've evolved, you've admitted that. We've evolved socially as well. And we can recognise that the ancestral diet is unethical. And obviously, it won't work with us now because of how processed it is. So we can't actually survive. I guess it's a bit like saying, I guess the world wasn't as happy. Well, it isn't happy now, but I mean, trying to think of a way to put it in terms of history. Like, we've done bad things in history, and they benefit others, of course, but that ultimately puts people on the shit end of the stick, a large majority of people. And yeah, for minorities as well, of course. It's just purely selfish. You can think extinction is better than zoos. That sounds like a straw man, or a red herring, or something. Many animal species are critically endangered and would be extinct right now if it weren't for zoos. Yeah, I've heard this one before. You kind of have to put them in a better situation. Like, the idea isn't that we're trying to make animals extinct. That's never the philosophy of veganism. And that's why I think this is a straw man. Because I think the moral solution here would be to put them in a safe place and have them breed naturally. Although you might have to force it because, of course, they won't always breed. But if you're trying to repopulate a almost extinct species, then you just have to do unsavory things, unfortunately, for their own benefit. So what was this YouTube person that said? Better for them to be extinct rather than exploited and caged. Who said that? I don't think they're vegan. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, zoos can't justify keeping animals in there as entertainment. Like, that's the crux of the issue. We're not against the, like, keeping them in a safe place. But it isn't safe to put them somewhere where people can watch them and make fun of them, like, maybe poke them, if that's even an option. And my next thing. Golden Force to being a militant vegan tonight on the Crucible, don't care. Probably the same exact thing. Just so listen to vegan subreddit. Some vegans have gotten so caught up in their BS that they think insect rape exists. We can't even consume honey now. This isn't anything new. In the bee industry, there's a lot of unethical practices. I don't know what the amount of quote-unquote bee rape there is. Because that's actually what it is. It's not artificial insemination, which is like a euphemism. You might as well call actual real-life rape artificial insemination or something. Or just forced insemination. I don't know. Basically, you can make up any pretty name for it, and it'll still mean the same thing fundamentally. It's incredibly stupid. But yes, insect rape does exist. And it's done by human hands, and this is kind of, again, the thing that highlights people for having really bad beliefs. Because this implies that the size of a creature, someone sentient, who actually may or may not be sentient, we don't know, immediately makes them exempt from moral consideration. That is a massive double standard, as usual. It just makes no sense, because just because of the size, that makes them different. Just because of the species, that makes them different. It's ridiculous. This is what happens when you don't actually think. This is the right way to take this love stake as life. What? Yeah, don't really care. I have a pleasure and do want to see. It's just a bunch of eggs. Okay. I don't really get what this is saying. It's not even anti-vegan. But if anything, this could be considered a circle jerk for animal products, I guess. Which also implies things that are related to it, so selective breeding of chickens and hens. Now they lay an unnatural amount of eggs. Just horrific. Seeing vegans get known on social media is my pleasure. It should be a send carnies to prison day, because we need a law that finally bans the abuse and torture of animals. Lol, you're mad. Only the mental mind your extremist ideas are enough to be classified as human rights violation, and therefore you should be sent to the International Criminal Court to be tried for your crimes against humanity. Then what, you skinny ass vegans gonna take us there? What? But this didn't actually refute the point. They just say things that are unrelated to it. I disagree with part of what the vegan says. Sending carnies to prison now is bad, because the world hasn't changed yet. And I think in order for people to recognise that the ethical choice is veganism, you can't really do that until everyone chooses the ethical choice. Because ideally in a vegan world we would punish people for obviously consuming a sentient being who is more vulnerable than a human child for that matter. And yeah, we need a law that bans animal abuse and torture. But I'd throw in there that we need to ban exploitation because that enables it. Which is not what a lot of not vegans don't understand, I don't know. A lot of anti-vegans don't understand that, and carnies in general. Exploitation naturally leads to animal abuse and murder. They go hand in hand. As for the human rights violations, no. It's still murder. Mainly because it's like multi-level. Like you're not actually the one with the knife, but you're paying someone with a knife. It's kind of difficult to send someone to prison for that, I guess. Without undeniable proof, although there is. It's just more of a human rights violation to actually pay people to kill animals when this fucks their head up with PITS and PTSD. There's a BBC News article on that. And I think there's also been some videos on it. But the vegan hasn't done anything. But, yeah, there's literally nothing in the vegan has said that would justify them being put into prison. You don't even need to be an anti-vegan to understand that this is dumb. Also the skinny ass thing. You're assuming. Well, I'm actually a fat vegan. Okay, I could prove that. It's fat. Plant-based meat is not meat or a replacement for it. I don't need to read the rest of this because I've already refuted it. The art is the meat, because obviously it tastes good, but nobody wants to know how it's made, how it gets there. And the reason it exists is because we don't want how it's made to happen, because animals have to die for it. And there's obviously benefits to plant-based meat, which is why it exists, and people don't want to give up the bad habits, unfortunately. So we have to make replacements for it. It's as simple as that. Also, speaking from personal experience, I have sensory issues and I couldn't live on a diet without a meat replacement. Because I wouldn't bear it. I'd just keep vomiting. Because it'd be like a negative sensory overload. I love meat. Don't care. Out of curiosity, how many of you here are former vegans? 3 years ago? That's fake. That's dumb. But, the reason people become ex-vegans is because they either fucked up their own diet or they become convinced by this without using critical thinking or demonstrable evidence. There's generally no reason to give up veganism. What the fuck? I just saw that vegan teacher live stream on TikTok. I thought she was banned. Yeah, she's been banned many times and for unjustifiable reasons. And she keeps coming back because she knows that people will watch her videos and obviously cause more people to go vegan. Like, you give into her exact plan, I guess you could call it. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. You're complaining about this because that's what she wants. Like, hello? Like, this is what fucking trolls do. I'm not saying that vegan teacher is a troll, but she does have bad opinions, so I can say that. Usually on the vegan front it's fine, for the most part, but on human rights stuff it's not always great. Vegan protesters versus Hungry Man. I don't know, I don't really care. Also, is this the Hungry Man? I'm actually curious. I think there's too much testosterone or something. I don't know. Couple of hippies. But this is the thing. They don't have anything constructive to say or irrefutable. He knows what he's doing is wrong, not even just the pushing there. And yeah, it pretty much puts us in the right again, because there's nobody to refute it. Nobody to refute what we believe, why we believe it. Just get better material, and I'll say the guy doesn't seem hungry to me. Like, he's already got quite a few pounds, I guess. Might be a bodybuilder, I don't know. But it's just kind of dumb. Like, when I see videos like this, I just facepalm because people just do not look at why they're there. They look at something like this or look for clout, something like that. And that's it. They don't actually refute the argument, don't refute why they're there. As much as it's unsavoury for, like, say, in the healthcare industry, for people to go on strike and let people die. That's the point. I don't blame them because they have to be striking for a good reason. Because obviously they're not getting paid or something. There's something wrong when someone's striking and not working. Again, it just goes to looking at why they're doing these things rather than what they're doing. Preferring eating meat to dairy to cannibalism and slavery. What's your response to it? We wouldn't want humans eating or women treated like milking products, so why should we do the same to animals? There isn't really a response. I'm just going to think about this for a sec. Yeah, so the point that the question is asking is that we share the same traits, humans and animals. We're sentient and we have feelings. You think. And also, I like to throw this in there because it's important. Some animals are actually disabled in different ways, and you almost never see it because obviously there aren't enough hidden cameras, sadly, or whistleblowers. Yeah, disabled animals pretty much exist, and to say that they're not comparable is just false. We are pretty much the same, just with a different level of intelligence. And if that's a justification for eating them, then you're pretty sick. We don't currently eat severely mentally disabled people. You're not eating me, because I think I'm kind of dumb sometimes. That makes no sense. I'm trying to think if I can still man this. I don't know. Like, I sort of have a half still man. That being survival, but we're not in a survival situation, so yeah. Again, it falls apart. The American Dietitian Association currently does not have the position on a vegan diet. Since the most recent position paper expired, the Academy currently does not have a position on vegetarian nutrition. A re-examination of evidence for the topic is planned, however the Academy is recruiting for expert panel members. Is this the American Dietetic Association? It doesn't look it. It says Eat Right Pro. So papers expire? What? Don't know, but it's just kind of dumb to see things like this, because there's no mention of vegans. It says vegetarians. Veganism is a scam based on cherry-picked science powered by gullibility and virtual signaling. I doubt it. Like, the only scam in veganism, I guess, is that corporations jump on the vegan bandwagon. But we don't have much other choice because there isn't really anyone funding it. And corporations follow the money, so the more people that buy it, the better, really, for the animals and the environment. It's kind of like how government works, I guess. It takes a lot of people to change to get them to listen. It wouldn't surprise me if they follow the money as well, to be honest. Yeah, I think I'll stop here. Just weird the stuff that these people come up with. As I've said, like, you can approach this unbiasedly, as I have tried my best to. But you come up with flaws all the time. Like, there's no thinking done. That post about like a simple information kind of surprised me. Because it just shows a lack of passion, I guess. A lack of interest. And possibly that there's more going on beneath the surface. Hopefully things change in the future. And I'm interested to know what people think. I generally haven't heard an anti-vegan argument. Or anything against veganism even. There are many things in like the vegan lifestyle that are unethical, like boycotting Nestle, which is perfectly justifiable. Avoiding almonds as much as possible. Like, we need the production to exist for obvious reasons like food intolerance and allergies. But it's not sustainable enough to have it as like a guilty pleasure. So yeah, And also we can't eat honey because we're not certain, bivalves for that matter, because we're not certain that there isn't sentience in these other creatures. It's best to be safe than sorry. That reminds me of another fucking topics about porn, like how, for example, rape is illegal, but spy cameras aren't. Like, what the fuck is that about? Like, that needs to change as well. It is kind of absurd to think that humanity can stoop to these sort of lows. I try to be truthful and right in what I say and do, because I think that's important. Because if it isn't truth or the most ethical choice, then it's the unethical choice and the untruth. It's as simple as that. Like, even if I fucking die from a vegan lifestyle, I can't deny that the things that it did for the planet and people and the animals is far better than someone who, I guess, died of fucking omnivore lifestyle. If we have less regrets, that's the point. And looking back in history, if we were to, like, am I on the right side? All evidence points to yes. So that's why I do it. Again, time is running out and people are lacking excuses. Like, there aren't really any excuses. There's very few against living a vegan lifestyle, or at least vegetarianism.